language tooling, in which we set up our development environment with the TypeScript language. We will run our game in a web browser window, and we will program it with JavaScript code. Almost. We will actually program in the language TypeScript, which is a practical way to write JavaScript. As its name suggests, it adds types to JavaScript, and types are a wonderful aid when making larger programs and when making changes to larger programs. And as you build a large program, you will make changes to your existing parts. If we stuck with plain JavaScript, we wouldn't need setup. We could just open up a text editor and start plopping in JavaScript code. We'd still need some web server to get that code into a web browser though. But trust me that I have tried doing that, and it was so painful. I refused to do any more JavaScript games unless TypeScript was there to help me. The way TypeScript and types help us is that they keep track of all the rules and promises we make to ourselves as we build our game. It will helpfully tell us, remember that you promised that you would always specify an XY position for the monsters in your game. Well, in line 187 and 453 of file NNN, it seems you forgot to include the XY values. Can you fix that, please? That may sound like a nuisance, but a real nuisance is when you have played for 3 hours and your hero suddenly dies on level 7 because you forgot to specify a comma somewhere. I say all this to motivate why we now spent the following efforts to get our hands on TypeScript, when we instead could have just started writing JavaScript within 60 seconds. To get our TypeScript set up, we will set up a kind of bottle ship. Our end goal is to get JavaScript into a web browser. But web browsers, they show stuff they get from web servers. And also, we have TypeScript which must be translated to JavaScript. And web browsers don't really show JavaScript, they show web pages with JavaScript. So we need 3 things: our TypeScript into JavaScript, our JavaScript into a web page, and our web page into a web server, and from there, finally, into a browser. Luckily for us, there are systems that do just that, made by and for people with similar needs. The foundation is Node.js, a JavaScript engine and environment, which you can download and install. Once you have Node.js, it can do 2 things for you. It can run JavaScript, big surprise there, and it can install, manage, and run JavaScript modules. This means we can install a bunch of Node modules that do those 3 things we need. The central module for us is a system called webpack. It interfaces to all the things we need and need taken care of. Webpack will orchestrate turning TypeScript into JavaScript, getting the JavaScript into a web page, and even run a tiny and clever web server to deliver our page and scripts to the browser. With those promises made, let's look at what we need. First, we name and make a folder for our Node module in which we will build our game. So, make the my game, change directory my game, and npm init. npm is the Node package manager, and it controls everything about Node.js JavaScript modules. Now, with a module of our own, we can install the packages we need. Our Node module shopping list is as follows. You can go ahead and install them all: TypeScript, Webpack, TypeScript loader, jQuery, the dev server, the Webpack plugin, and the file loader. So what are all those parts actually? Well, the TypeScript module is the general engine that can translate TypeScript to JavaScript. Webpack and Webpack CLI is the forklift that integrates all those parts that we are bringing in. The TypeScript loader lets Webpack operate the TypeScript module. It's the interface between those 2. The 2 jQuery things are the definitions for jQuery and jQuery itself. In other words, if you forego jQuery, you could leave those 2 out. Webpack Dev Server is the test web server built into Webpack. It means you don't need to get hold of a real web server. You can think of it as batteries included. Finally, the file loader lets the dev server serve ordinary files as well, which is a thing it just needs. For example, the favicon. In this chapter, we are not going to explain in depth what all those moving parts do. There might be an appendix chapter which go into these details about TypeScript, JavaScript, Webpack, dev server. Here, our focus is on getting a TypeScript environment up and running without getting bogged down by all the tiny wheels and gears within Webpack. With this excuse, I now dump the following incomprehensible heap of steaming Webpack config.js on your head. So a big, huge list of what the minimal setup you need to get Webpack to run. To allow us to run, we will also need a tsconfig.json file, which contains the following. The base URL is what allows us to import our own types from our module source root. Without it, we would have to use those weird ... relative paths when we import our own stuff. All the rest are good and safe defaults, which will protect us against cutting ourselves by issuing warnings. You can leave out basically all of them, but that would just allow you to have more undetected bugs. And then we will need a tiny sprinkle of source code. We need some definite TypeScript, which you'll put in a subfolder source. So make the directory source, go into it, and then edit this file, index02 hello.ts. And then we'll need a small web page to host it in. We could use a web page that is tiny like this with just an HTML tag and a canvas. But instead, we'll go with this more complete version. It includes stuff we'll want to be there. There's a graphics canvas we're going to draw on, and some sensible default settings. We get rid of the default margin, we set the proper encoding, and a background color that lets us see how the canvas is doing. By now we're almost ready to type npm start. In order to do that, we have to add that start script to our package.json. So the script section in the package.json will look like this. So start webpack serve open. And then our start script, that's just that single line. With this, you can type npm start, but when you are in the root of your mygame folder, and then our tiny web page should be built, triggering this output. It should hopefully compile and run and show up in a web browser looking like this. Typically, if you press the key F12 in your web browser, it will show the JavaScript console, where you can see the output, hello TypeScript. If you want to manually specify which index n to run on the command line, you can instead use the npx webpack serve command.